Okay, so let's just revise what we had studied yesterday. So what we had completed yesterday was regarding what is the different version control system that we have. First of all, we understood what is version control system. So version control system is basically a tool, right? So why do you use it? You use it to track changes in the codes or any files or documents that you have in your system. Next is how do version control system works? You have a central server and you are sitting in different locations. You and your friends are sitting in different locations. You guys can easily or update changes into directly into the server, and that is what is VCS. Basically, you're controlling the version of your project easily using what? Using VCS. Now, when it comes to different types of version control system, we have three different types. One is local version control system, which is also known as local VCS. Then we have centralized version control system, CVCS. Then we have distributed version control system, which is DVCS. I hope you don't have any doubts over here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is we understood what is Git. So what is Git? Git is basically a version control system, which is distributed version control system that we use in our day-to-day life, or as a developer, we use it to control the version of our project. What is GitHub? GitHub is a hosting service or a website that you have where you can host your repositories. Okay, so now let's continue with the next few set of commands. Then we go back to Ubuntu and then open my terminal. Okay. I'll also open Git. Did you guys try the commands? Any one of you tried the commands?
Ma'am, I still have to install VMware. So that I'm searching.
You can do it in Windows as well. You just need this one, Git Bash install, CMD install. If you install Git right, as I showed you yesterday, I have shown you yesterday itself. This is what Git CMD is. So when you install Git right, you can directly do all your tasks over here itself. So whatever command I had told you yesterday, everything works here as well. But the Linux command, that is making directory, all these things doesn't work out here. Okay, so for that you'll have to need or have Ubuntu. Why am I talking about Ubuntu is because in the industry, it's only Ubuntu that is used. Windows is very rare because all your task, because Ubuntu is open source, that's the reason why they use it. Okay. Okay. Today I'll teach you how to push your changes. Now, yesterday you might remember. Okay. So yesterday, what did we do? So yesterday we had created something called as test, and in this we had new created, right? So we have seen all the different things that we have done. So let's get back to that. CD desktop. Desktop is where my folder is. Okay. Desktop. What is CD? CD means change directory. Okay. So once I get into desktop, let me get into my new folder. Oh, sorry, new. It's a file, right? So test is a folder. So let me get into test folder. ls capital cd test. And then if I give ls is for listing what are the different files that you have. And what is the command to list the hidden files? It is ls minus a. Remember all these commands, okay? So here you can see we had already initialized git. So how do we initialize git? Any one of you? How do we initialize or how do we convert a normal folder into a git repository? Instance of git, how do we convert it? What command do we use? How do we initialize git into a folder? Any one of you? Forgot? How do we do it, guys? Hmm? Am I audible?
Ma'am, you are audible.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm actually traveling, so they will be glitch. That's why I'm not able to reply. Ma'am. I
What,
apologize
what,
for this.
what?
I'm actually traveling, so there will be glitch in the internet. So that's why I'm unable to reply.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Anyone else who knows? Just give me a second. Okay. So how do we initialize? It is using git and init, okay? Git init. I hope you guys remember it. Git init is what we use to initialize a repository or initialize git instance into a folder. Okay, initializing a new git repository is using git init. Then to add file and all those, you might remember it. So git status is for checking what is the status of the your this one repository. Okay, local repository. Right now, it's saying that head is detached. So if I give git branch to check where is my head, I'll get to know that head is not in master. Master is my main branch, isn't it? So it's not in master. It's in somewhere called as this particular commit ID. So what will I do? If I need to go back to master, I'll just go git checkout and then I'll just go into master. Now if I do master, okay, let's commit it. Git add and git commit. Okay, now git status if I give. Okay, nothing to commit. Now I can basically get my head back into master. Git checkout, master branch. Okay, now if I give git branch, I'll get to know, I can see that my head is now at master. So I hope you guys remember what I had explained you again about this one yesterday. So basically, whenever you do git checkout, right? Let me explain you once again. What is that head? What significance does it have? Okay, so basically this would be your master, isn't it? This is your master. Sorry. So this is your master, which is the main branch. This is the default branch which Git is giving you, where you do all the work. Okay, this is your master branch. Master branch it is. I'll explain you what are branches and everything today. So whenever we had done any commits, for example, I created a new folder yesterday and I committed it, isn't it? So commit is created, commit ID is created for this. Again, when I do any changes, again, once again, when I commit it, I can once again another commit is created. Okay, this is another new folder. So each time I do some changes and save it, I say first what do I do? First I add the changes into staging area. That is git add and dot is what we use for. After adding it into staging area, the next thing that we do is we commit it, isn't it? So we commit it into the branch, that is master branch. So basically what happens now, see each time you're doing a commit, right? There is something called as head. So first time when I did commit, my head was here. Okay. Second time when I did some commits, my head, my head which was over here, when I did the second commit, it comes to this one. Okay, now head is over here. Okay, my head will be here. So each time I do a new commit, head will keep on getting updated. It will be pointing to the new commit. So now what happens if I check out into the previous commit? So each and everything will be having a commit ID as well, right? I hope you guys remember all these things. If not, I can explain you again. Just let me know if you need any explanation again. So commit ID you have already seen. How do you get commit IDs? You can just give git log. What is git log used for? Git log is used to know your history or screenshots, whatever snapshots you have taken. So my latest commit is, so I have all the commits done. I have the timings when I've done all the commits. My latest commit is this one, which is named as added new file names new to. Okay, new file name new to. I had added new file name new to. That is how I had done. That was the latest commit. If I go back to this commit, okay, that is basically you're going back to this particular commit that you had done earlier. If you're going back here, then what happens? Obviously, your head will once again, basically, your head will always be having a reference to the master as well. Always remember this. When you did not do any checkout in the beginning, when you were just committing, your head was pointing to this commit as well as the master branch. It was having a reference to the master branch as well. But later on, when you did something called as checkout, that is, you are going back to this commit ID, that is when this reference gets deleted. Okay. So that is when this head will now get detached from the master branch. Okay, it will no longer have any contact with the master branch. That is why whenever we do git checkout, right? For example, git checkout. And then if I go to this commit, copy and paste and enter. Now you get to know that switching to this one, we have switched to this one. You are in a detached head state. That means our head is detached. Now when you give git branch, earlier you saw that when we gave git branch, we were in the master branch. Now you can see that we are not in the master branch, we are just at this particular IDE. Okay, so how will you get back to, how will you create this connection back? I'll show you in the diagram itself. So how are you creating this connection back? How are you making this head once again refer to this one? How are you bringing this reference back? It is by giving the ID, giving the command git checkout master. So when you do git checkout master, now my head automatically will go from the previous commit to the new commit, as well as it will also have a reference to the master as well. So this will be my head. So whenever you directly do git checkout master, when you go to git checkout master branch, automatically wherever your commit was, it could be here in the previous commits or anywhere it could be, it doesn't matter. Your head will automatically come to the latest commit. Along with that, it will create a reference to the master branch. I hope this is clear what happens with head when you do git checkout master. Okay, now what are these branches? Let me explain you in deep now in depth. Okay, before explaining you about master branch, let me show you how do we basically push all the changes that we have done so far. See now, what are we doing? Let me check out back into master. Okay, now we are in branch master. Git branch. If I do, we are in master. Let's see the status of our folder. You can see that there is nothing to commit. Everything is up to date. Now let me show you how to create a new repository in your GitHub. Okay, so basically this is your main repositories section. So you'll have to go into your GitHub profile, then go get into repository section. Then over there you have something called as new. So what is this new? It's basically an option for you to create a new repository. Okay, so repository name, let's give testing. Okay, it's my project name. You can give your project's name basically. For example, if you're building a phone, you can give phone. Okay, anything, you can give anything. Right now, I'll give
Excuse
testing
me, ma'am.
itself. Yeah,
Ma'am, only the canvas screen is visible, nothing else is visible.
okay, sorry.
Earlier, I thought my screen was so frozen, but now it's
So
visible.
far, nothing was visible other than
Only the
canvas.
Canva diagrams are visible. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. I'll do it. Just a minute. Is it visible now?
For me, only the canvas screen is visible. I don't know what others, like, if my network is too.
It's not visible, ma'am.
Okay, wait. Now I guess it's visible, no? Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So this is why, see, so basically what you will be doing now is you'll be creating a new repository. How will you do it? Just get into your GitHub profile. Okay, GitHub profile. And then over there you have repository section. Get into it and then create new repository. This is basically for your new project. See, just consider whatever we had done so far was a project, okay? It was in a folder called as test. So whatever is there in test, it's a project that we were working on. Now let's do one thing. My friend also wants to access the project. So what will I do? I'll just host this project that I have, this folder that I have, right? Which is that folder? This is the folder that I have, right? Test folder, which I have. There are this one folder files. So I want to host this entirely into what? GitHub so that my friend also can access it remotely. Let me name this as testing only, or I can name it as test itself. Okay, description, you'll have to give description for your project. So description will be useful when someone else other than you guys will be accessing your project. He'll be able to get to know, he or she will get to know what the project is all about. So that is what description is used for. After that, you can choose whether you want to make it public or private. Public is anyone can access over the internet, anyone can access your folder. That is your repository. Private is you can choose who should access it. For now, let's go for public itself. If you want, you can add README file. I'll explain you what is README file. You can also create your README file on README file. Let's look at this later. Now I don't want any README file. So README file is basically everything about the project. You have just dumped it into a file where people can access it and read it. Okay. For now, I'll just go and create repository. This is how you create a repository is. So now you can see that your repository has been created, which is called as testing. And you also have the link for that particular repository. What is a link? It's a HTTPS link, github.com. Pratiksha Jain is a username. Then testing.git is how it's got created. I'll just copy this because this is something which is very important. Okay. Now let's do one thing. See, what we have done so far is only so much. So what we have done so far was just in our local PC. We had a personal computer. We had created something called as test. Inside this test, we have two new folders. One is new, another one is new too. This is nowhere this can be accessed by no one other than me in my system. So now what am I trying to do right now using GitHub is a server. Okay, basically it's a server where everyone can access it. So what am I going to do is this local repo called as test that I have, right? I'll do one thing. I'll push all the changes that I've done, all the commits that I've done into something called as GitHub, which is a hosting platform. So that my friend, for example, my friend's is Neha, she can easily access this test folder from the internet through GitHub. She can easily pull it. Okay. So how do you do adding? How do you do committing? You already know. Now, how do you do this connection? How do you push the changes into GitHub is what we need to understand today. Okay, so how will you do it? Basically, it's simple. Let's go back into Ubuntu and let's see. See, now the most important thing is you'll have to build a connection, right? Connection between your GitHub repository and your local repository that you have. So I'll copy this. This is the main link that is required to build the connection between the repositories. Okay, so let me copy it. That was the HTTPS URL. Next is let's link our local repo to the GitHub repo that we have created. So GitHub repo, you have already seen how to create it. Now let's link it. So how do we do the linking part? The code is git remote. Okay, git remote add origin, git remote add origin, and then you'll have to paste just now what I had copied over there, right? The link I'll have to paste it over here. So if I paste it and then click enter, now there is nothing, no error, something showing over here. That means there is a link that has been established between my local repo and my GitHub repo. So what did I do using this command is see, basically you have git, which is your command. Obviously you'll have to write git if you're using git. Remote is basically saying that there is a remote repository. Okay, there is a remote repository to which I'll have to connect my local repo now. So this is the remote repository's link. Okay, so to this link, I'll have to connect my local repo. That is why I'm giving the command like git remote add origin. What is this origin? Origin is basically the name, or you can call it as a name given to the this one default name given to your remote repo. Okay, like you had seen here, git branch when you do, right? It was master. Master was not the name given by me, right? It was the default name that was given. In the same way, origin is also something which relates or which says that it is something which is representing the remote repository. Okay. Now, if you want to check whether this connection is established or not, there is a command to check also. So what is that command? It's simple. You'll just have to give git remote and then -v. If you give this and give enter, you'll get to know. See, so you can see that your link has been, there is a link that has been created between your local repo and your, if you're getting this particular HTTPS link, that means there is a linking that has been created between your local and your remote repository. Okay. I hope this is clear, right? So far. So what did we do? Basically, we just created a link between our local repo and the remote repo. So for that, we had to use this command, git remote add origin and the link of the repository. Where did we get the link from? We just went into GitHub and just copied this. So whenever you create a new repo, right, you'll get this link where you can easily copy it and paste it over here. Okay, so now you got to know that we have already added the origin. Okay, origin is like a nickname that is pointing to the GitHub repo. Remember this. It's a nickname which is pointing to the GitHub repo. Okay. So what was that remote -v? It is for verification. So this particular remote -v is for verification that we have used to check whether the connection has been established or not. Okay. Now, for example, just imagine you gave a wrong remote. Okay, the file, this link is wrong. Then what will you do? How will you remove this remote now? How will you remove this connection? It's simple once again. What do you do? Git remote, remove origin. That's it. Git remote, remove origin and give enter. Now let's see whether the connection still exists. Remote -v. Is it there? No, it's not there because we are not getting anything. How will you create the connection again? Git remote, add origin, and then go back, copy, come back, and then Control Shift V, paste it. That's it. Let's check it. Remote -v. Yes, connection has been established. I hope you got to know how to link your local repo to the GitHub repo that you have over GitHub, okay? Remote repo. Now, the next most important thing is, okay. See, as I told you earlier, Git branch when you do, it's the master that is coming, right? You can even change the name of master to something else. Okay, so how can you do it? Let me say you how to do it. Okay, because usually main is something we say. We don't say master, okay? We always say main branch because earlier it was referred to as main itself. Nowadays it's coming as master, but before it was main. So let's go with main itself. So how do you rename this? Isn't it? That also becomes something very important. How will you rename the branch? We'll just have to go git and then branch -m is for renaming -m. And then what are you renaming? Master branch into, you're renaming it into main. Okay, you could not get any error. Now let's check in which branch am I in. You are in main branch. See, what we have done so far is nothing but whatever master was there, we have just written its name as main now. So anytime we refer to master, now we can start referring to it as main only. Okay, there will not be any problem. So why main? You guys may not be aware, most of you, before it was main. So that's the reason why you can continue with main as well, or you can go with master as well. It's your wish. I just showed you how to change the name back to main. It's not mandatory, okay? Now, let's push the changes. Let's see the status of our folder once again. There is nothing to commit. Everything is clean and clear, right? So let's do one thing. I want to push all those changes into this testing repository that I've created. Okay, how will I do it? Simple. You'll just have to give the command git push -u. -u is not mandatory always. Once in the beginning, you'll have to do it. That's it. Okay. Later on, you can just give it as git push origin main. What is main? So basically, what you're doing is you're using git push command. You're pushing your main into origin. What is origin? Origin is the nickname of the remote repo. That is this one. Origin is this one. So basically, what are you doing now? You're putting your main or pushing your main into origin. So at the beginning, usually what we follow is we usually use, sorry, we usually use -u, okay? So what is this -u, you might ask? So basically -u is something which is used to track, okay? It's basically we are saying GitHub that each time whenever from now onwards I say git push origin main, whenever I try to push, you'll have to push to the same remote repo is what I mean. What I say GitHub, Git is. Okay, that's the reason why -u is used. Only once you can use -u, later on you can just give git push origin main. There will not be any problem at all. Okay. It is basically I'm saying git to remember this connection forever. Okay, forever in the sense until and unless I create another repository and say and create a git remote add origin, create another origin. Till then I can keep on pushing to the same remote repo that I have over GitHub. That is what I say using -us. Now let me give enter. Okay. Let me give enter. See. Now what happens? It has told enumerating objects done. Counting objects 100. 10 on 10. Everything has been committed. Okay. All the commits have been now pushed into what? Into my remote repo. So now I should be able to see those here. So let me refresh it. See now. You are able to see all the changes that you had done earlier in your PC, in your local computer over here. And even 3 commits were there. All the 3 commits are also visible to me. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Guys, any doubt?
No.
Okay. I hope it's clear, right? Everyone? So basically what I've taught you is, how to push all the changes that you have done in your local system into your remote repo. Okay. This is how you push all the changes. Okay. Next is, see, right now it did not ask me for any kind of authentication. Okay. Basically, Git doesn't usually directly get the pushing done. I was using Git since earlier. I have done all the authentication work. That's the reason why GitHub or Git did not ask me to authenticate once again. So whenever you try to push for the first time, right, Git will ask you to write username as well as password. Okay, until and unless you write your username and password, Git won't allow you to push any changes. I have already configured it. That's the reason why it is not asking me for username and password. But why isn't it asking me again and again is I have used something called as config. Okay. So what I have done is let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have done is, let me remove this. Okay. So what I have So give me a minute. I'll just remove the configuration that I've done earlier and I'll explain you from the scratch. If you guys have any doubt, right, please do ask now until I share you another screen. You can ask me anything now. Okay, so let me just do one thing. So git config minus minus global credential. Oh, set. So basically, right, I'll say you what this command means. Okay, don't worry now. Will take some time. Okay. So this credential dot helper, right? It is one of the helper that is helping you in saving your credentials, basically your username and password. Credential dot helper is the one that is helping me save it. I had saved it earlier. That's the reason why it did not ask me for any username or password when I tried to push my code. But if I hadn't saved over here in credential.helper, then obviously it'll ask me for username and password. So what am I doing now is I'll unset whatever I had saved. Okay. Let me unset it. So once I have unset it, now if I try to do any changes and push it, let me do one thing. Let me do some changes in my new folder. Okay. New file, I mean, sorry. So let me do some changes over here. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'll save it. I'll close it. Now you know how to see the status. How do you see the status? It's git status. You know that there is one modified file. Let's add it. Okay. And then also commit it. Git commit minus a message is important. I have added new line into new file. Okay. This is my commit message. It has been committed now. Now you can see git status once again. Okay. Nothing is there to commit. Now let me try with push. Git push origin main. That's it. I need not give minus u again. Git push origin main. So basically whatever is there in my main, I'm pushing it into origin, right? So if I give enter, see now it's asking for username and password. So now what is my username? I know what my username is. because I've been using. So this will be my username. I can just give it as Pratiksha Jain itself. No problem. Pratiksha Jain. Now it's also asking me for my password. See, remember everyone, guys. Password, earlier GitHub used to allow us to use password. But recently, GitHub has disabled that password authentication part itself. Okay, since 2021, GitHub has disabled that password authentication part itself. Earlier, if you knew your GitHub profile's password, right, you could just enter it and give enter, and there would be a connection established. But right now, because GitHub has removed the password authentication, you'll have to create personal access token. That is PAT, something called as PAT. How will you create this personal access token? You have two methods. Either you'll have to create, I hope it's not confusing. I'll just say you once again. See, before GitHub used to allow you to use your GitHub's password itself. Where when Git was asking you for password, you could use your GitHub profile's password itself. Okay. But now since 2021, GitHub has disabled this. Basically, GitHub has disabled this. So now what you need to do, each time there is a password being asked, you will have to create PAT, which is called as personal access token. Okay, you'll have to create a token. So how do you create a token? You'll have to go to your GitHub. Okay, it's very easy. You'll have to get into your GitHub account. Okay, after getting into your GitHub account, get into settings. There is an issue. Okay, so I'll just say you until it gets loaded. You'll have to get into settings. Let me go back to my profile. Okay, you have settings over here. Get into that. Then you have something called as developer settings. So remember, you'll have to get into your profile over here. Click on this and then get into this icon. Then search for settings option. Get into settings. This is basically we are doing PAT, personal access token. Okay, we are creating a token for us to try to push our code into GitHub. After that, you'll have to get into developer settings. In developer settings, you'll have to go for personal access token and then classic token you're creating over here. Okay, let's create a classic token. I already had a token called as everything. So let me delete this older token. Okay, let me delete it. Why am I deleting it? I'll explain you. So let me generate a new token, classic token itself for general use. I'm doing it. So let me do it. Verify via mail. Okay, it's asking for verification as well. I'll just finish this part. Mm. Okay, verification is done. What is this token for? Just general. You can give anything over there. Okay, you will have to set the expiration to anything that you want. You can customize, or I'll give no expiration for now because I'll completely use this token forever. And then remember to tick all these. Okay, this is basically what and all you're allowing your token to do. I'll allow everything. I'll allow it to do everything. So if someone is having my token, they can do anything with the token, but I'll not share the token to anyone. Okay, so let me just give tick to all of these. Okay, so basically everything. As much as possible, whatever is required, you just give select everything because it's a lifetime token. That's the reason why. Let me select everything and keep everything ready so that later I need not do anything. Then let me give generate token. As soon as you give generate token, this is your token ID. This is only visible for once, okay? It won't be visible again. So you'll have to sooner copy it. And then when it's asking for password over here, right? Here where it was asking me for password, let me just give Control Shift V and give enter. See, now my username and password has been given. Now can I push changes? Git push origin main. Yes, you can push. It's already done. Pushing is already done. You can check it over here. Once you have pushed everything, get back to dashboard. I have my repository called as testing. Okay, so you can see that I have all the 4 commits also now. Earlier it was 3 commits. Now I have 4 commits also. And see, hey there has been added. Okay, this is what I had added earlier, right? That has been visible now. Okay, so that is what the use of this configuration is. Now, see, once again, when I give git push, right? Now the thing is this username and password is not saved yet. So once you have used it, always do one thing. This is one of the pro tips that I can give you, okay? One of the pro tip, just give git config, okay? Globally, you want to config credential dot helper. Just call this and say to store whatever you had used earlier, username and password. It knows, Git knows that you have used earlier somewhere username and password. So now you're calling Git credential helper. Credential helper is something which is helping you store your credentials. So you're calling this and saying it to store. Earlier, what did I do? I said it to unset. Now what am I doing? I'm saying it to store. So when I give enter, now whenever I try to get push origin, main. There is no one asking me again for invalid username. Okay, it's giving as authentication failed. Let me do one thing. Let me once again unset my credential. How do we unset? Git config minus minus global. So then we'll have to unset credential dot help. This is how I unset. Now if I unset, if I try to push something, origin and main, it'll ask for username and password. Once again, you'll have to give the username and password. Pratiksha, Pratiksha, and then enter. For password, once again, you'll have to create personal access token. How do you do it? Once again, you'll have to go into this. You'll have to get into settings. Then you'll have to go over here. You'll have to get into developer settings. Then you'll have to generate new token, personal access token. Classic token is what you need. And then generate new token, delete the old one, or you can keep it as it is. This is for general purpose that I'm using. Expiration date, once again, I'll give no expiration. For now, I'll just give repo access. Okay, later when you're doing, you can take everything and keep everything ready. And delete as well. Admin write and all these I'll be giving. Okay, delete repo. And all these access I'll be giving this token. And then I'll give generate token. It's already there. So I'll give general 1. Now I'll give generate token. So once I give generate token, I can just copy this part and then once again go over here and Control Shift V is what we give and give enter. Everything is up to date is what it's giving. Now let me call my credential helper. Git config -- global. Okay. Credential helper I need to call dot helper and then I'll have to say to store it. Now it's stored. So now whenever I try to push origin main, it's again asking for username. What is wrong? Okay, let me give it once more. I think my username is wrong. Pratiksha, enter, go back and copy this, and then go back over here. Enter. Everything is up to date. Okay, so now my credential is having my username. Okay. So I hope you got to know so far, right? Let us do some changes and then try to add again. Add. Add is something that I've added. So now what will I do is I'll once again give git status and I can see that there is a modification done. Add and then git commit -m added a new word in new and then enter. Then git push origin main is what I need to give. See, now it's not asking me for username and password because my credential helper is helping me. It is already stored and that is helping me in giving the username and password. So whatever changes I've done, it should be visible in my GitHub repository. So where will you see the changes? You'll see the changes over here in your repository. So let me get into my repository and let me see the changes that I've done, if it's visible or not. So in testing, I have new. Let me open new. Let me see if there is a new word added called hat. It's added. Got it? So this is how you do and push all the changes into your GitHub is. Simple. Okay, the only thing is you'll have to keep in mind is you'll have to use personal access token and you'll have to store it using credential manager or credential helper so that later on again and again you need not create PAT again and again. Once if you create PAT which is having an expiration date of lifetime, you can easily use that forever. Okay. So now let's do one more thing. Okay. So what is it that we'll be doing now is I'll do one thing now. So for example, consider me as your friend. You were the one who had pushed all these code into testing remote repo. Okay. So now what I as a friend will do, I'm also contributing to this project. So what will I do? I'll get into this repository. I'll do some changes over here. Hey, I need to add this feature. Example, I have added a new feature called background is yellow and refresh button also I have added. Okay, refresh button also added. I do all these changes and I'll give commit. Okay, I'll give commit directly into the main branch. I'll commit it into main branch. See, now let's do one thing. It was in the new folder that I've done the changes. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's try to do changes over here also in our local repo also. The changes that we did now was in the remote repo. Let me go into local repo and let me go into new to, not new. Okay, I'm getting into new to, and here I'll be doing changes. Hey, I have added a new feature of pause button. Okay, this is for example music player app that we are doing. So my friend has added refresh button and he has uploaded the code in the remote repository. I have added a pause button in new to. Okay, I have added a pause button in new to. Pause button added and then stored. Okay, this is what I have done changes. I'll just delete this, close all these, and then let me go and see here. When I do git status, obviously new to is something that is modified. Let's add this into staging area and then let's commit it into, sorry, there was a mistake. Git add dot, and then let me commit it git commit -m. Let's give the message as what did I add right now? Pause button, right? Pause button added into new to. This is what I've done changes, isn't it? Let me give enter. Now committing is done. Let me now try to push. What do you think is going to happen now? Will it get pushed? Because you know that in your remote repo also there is someone that is your friend who has done changes and they have added a background color and refresh button into new file. What do you think will happen when I try to push this particular changes into main? Let's see what happens. Okay, see, it is saying that it has been rejected. What is the reason for rejected? Failed to push some reference to testing.get. Reason. It's giving us hint also. What could be the reason? One is updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not contain. So what is basically happening over here is, let me explain you through a diagram. Okay, so what is basically happening is you had your what? You have your GitHub over here. Okay, this is your personal PC. This is your personal PC, isn't it? So what did you do earlier? Whatever folder you had, folder, test folder, you just pushed it into GitHub, isn't it? You just pushed it into GitHub. So that folder is now over here, test. So you know that inside test there are two new files. One is new and the other one is new to. Here also it is same, new and the other one is new to. What happened now? Your friend has done changes into this one, right? New. So there is a change that has been done over here, which is not reflected here. Obviously, whatever you do change in remote repository, how will it be reflected over here if you don't pull it? If you don't take any changes from here, nothing will be visible over here. This will be as it is earlier. Next, what did I do? I was also working on the same project. My friend was also working. He did changes in this. I did changes in this. Okay. Whatever I did changes, I'm not able to push it. Why am I not able to push it now? Because there is something that has been already done by my friend, which first I'll have to pull it. Okay, always remember, you will have to keep your local repo up to date with the remote repo. If your local repo doesn't have some changes which is done in remote repo, that means you can't do any kind of pushing or you can't do any kind of task. So that's the reason why each time there is a change done in the remote repo, you'll have to pull those changes into your local repo. So what happens when you pull those changes? Whatever you had done changes, that will be there as it is, okay? And along with that, whatever your friend has done in new, right? That will also come and sit over here. Next, what can you do? Once everything is up to date, then you can do the pushing task. So let me show you how to do this part, that is pulling part, how to pull the changes into your local repo. So this was my GitHub. Let me go back to terminal. And you could see that it has rejected my push. So that's the reason why I'll have to update my local repo. How do I update local repo? Git pull origin main. Same to same as git push origin main. Here I'll be doing git pull origin main. But you can't just give git pull origin main. You'll have to also mention rebase, or you'll have to mention merge, or you'll have to mention squash. I'll say you what are these: squash, rebase, and merge. But any one of these you'll have to mention. Okay. I'll give rebase. I'll explain you in depth what is this rebase. But basically, what am I doing now? Whatever changes has been done in remote repo, I am basically bringing it into my local repo. So when I give rebase and give enter, right, it's coming as successfully rebased and updated. So now that means pulling part is done successfully. If I go and check in my new, right, if I go and check in my new, see, whatever remotely it was done, background and refresh button was added by my friend. It's now visible in my local repo. Okay. So now let's try, because we know that everything is up to date. Now we can try to push. How do you push? Git push origin main. That's it. And now it has got pushed. Okay. So you can also check it once again, cross check. Go back to your testing. So what did I do changes? It was in new 2, right? So in new 2, what did I add? I added a pause button that has been saved over here. Got it? Any doubt so far? Guys, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Aditi, any doubt? Any doubt do you guys have, Aditi?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is it clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Abhishek and Abhinandan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's go to the next one. That is where, so you have got to know, right? Why am I pulling all the changes first and then trying to push everything? You have got to know. Okay, so the reason is once
Yes, ma'am.
only your remote, that is your local repo is up to date, only then you'll be able to push all the changes back into your remote repo. Okay, so now you saw that there was no conflict and no problem that was arriving. Now let me give you or explain you another case. Okay, so what happens sometimes is this was a simple case. You had two folders, files, new and new two. Here also you had new and new two. So your friend did changes in new.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
sorry for the interruption. I have a doubt. Suppose
yeah,
if, like, me and my friend have done
I'm
same
not able to
changes
hear
in a
you.
same file, like in the same line or something. So at the time, how can we resolve?
What? Can you repeat that question once
Ma'am,
again?
am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yeah,
Okay,
let me know. What was it?
in this in the file, and my friend have done the same changes in that file, and let's consider that is the same line also. So at that
Hmm.
time, there will be some conflict or some like
Hmm.
issue while pulling or pushing. So at that time, how can we resolve?
Yeah, so let's go and get into that now. So that is what I'll be explaining now. So now let's look at conflict, okay? So now what did we do is earlier what you and your friend did was you had new and new too. So basically what did your friend do? He had done changes in new file. And what did you do? You did changes in new too, isn't it? So there was no conflict. Even if I pull, it would have pulled into new itself, and even if I pushed, it would be doing changes in new too. There would not be any kind of conflict over here. Now, let's get into understanding something called as conflict case. Okay, so when this conflict comes, what will we do? Same way, you have your GitHub and you are having your personal PC. Okay. So you had your test folder, TEST, and then inside that you had new. Here also you have test, and inside this you have new as well as new 2. Both you have. Here also you have new 2. Now let's do one thing. What if your friend, this was your GitHub, right? Remote repo, isn't it? This is your GitHub remote repo basically. Now, what if your friend does changes in new, okay, new file? He has added, for example, he has added what? You can say in music player, what else do we have? Skip button, okay? And you also were working on the same folder. He was working on the remote folder. You were working on the local repo that you had. So what will you do? You will also take the same file. In the same line, you will also add something else. That is, for example, you have added again another skip. Your own code you have added, okay? Your own code in the same line, in the same part of the file you have added. Now what happens if I try to push? I won't be able to push because there is already some changes done by my friend over here. Red dot is something which is saying that there is a change done. So what will I do? I'll try to pull it first, isn't it? So what do? I pull the changes. But when I pull it, right, there will be a conflict because here, wherever my friend had done changes, in the same line, even I have done changes, isn't it? So that is when there is a conflict occurring. So let's look at that case over here. And how do we resolve that? Let's look at that also. So let's go and get into new. Okay. Let's get into new. And here at the end, let me add something called as added skip button. This is in my local PC, that is repository I'm doing. I'll save it. Okay, I'll save it and I'll close it. And I'll do one thing, I'll commit the changes as well. Okay, whatever changes I've done so far, let me commit it. How do you do it? Git add git commit -m, and then what did you do? Added uh, skip button into the new file. Okay, let me enter it. So committing is done. Let's get into our remote folder, remote repo as well. So where is a new? Let me get into testing repo. Here, let me get into new. This is your friend who is doing the changes, okay? He also has added a new line. So what will he do? He'll come add into the new line, adding new skip button. And he'll also do commit changes and he'll commit the changes as well. Okay. So you'll control, yes. You'll commit changes. Commit changes. Commit into the same branch. And I'll give it as, see what changed. Let me refresh it once again. It was my new file. Okay, I have added new skip button. It has got saved. So let me now try to. So what do we do now? Let me try to directly push it. Git push origin main. So when I give git push origin main, obviously it should get rejected because there was a change that I've done earlier in the remote repo. So I'll have to pull it, right? How do we pull it? Git pull origin main. So when I do pull, see, we have got something called as, okay, sorry. We'll have to specify divergent branches. That is, it's basically saying you will have to specify origin main. I'll have to specify whether am I rebasing or whether am I merging or squashing. I'll have to specify. I'll explain you what are these three. Okay, now when I do this, could not apply. Added skip button into new file. Why isn't saying this? See, auto merging new. There is a conflict now. It is saying that there is a conflict. Merge conflict in new. So now we'll have to resolve this manually. Whenever there is a conflict occurring, right? The only step that you have is get into the file where there is conflict. So you'll get to know which file is having conflict, isn't it? In new, it is saying. So that's the reason why there is a conflict in new. Get into new, and then you'll have these notations, okay, in your file. See, head means where did you add this? Adding new skip button. It was in your remote repo. So head is in your remote repo. So whether now you as a developer will have to choose which line you want to keep. I want to keep both the lines. So what will I do? I'll just remove all these notations. Okay. I'll just remove all these notations and then give control S. See, now there is no conflict. I have resolved the conflict by myself manually is the only way that you have over here because Git won't be able to understand this. Once you have resolved the conflict, you'll have to see Git status. Git status. When you see Git status, you know that there is changes. There are changes that has been done. So now you'll have to give Git commit. First Git add all the changes into staging area, and then commit those changes. Commit -m resolved conflict is what I'll give the name as. Okay, I have resolved the conflict. So that's the reason why I have given it as resolved conflict. So you can see head is detached. It's showing as head is detached. Let me see why. Okay, let me get back to git checkout main. Okay, let me get back to main. Okay, so far you got to know, right? When you pulled it, you got a conflict. So what did you do when you got a conflict? You just removed all the you just resolved it by yourself. Manually, you have removed all the conflicts. So once you have removed all the conflicts, you have also committed the changes. You have added, you have staged it as well as committed the changes. Now, after committing, the next thing that you will have to do is once you have committed the changes, you will have to now continue with git push. Okay. So now everything is done, right? Almost. You got to know, right? All these. Is there any doubt now? When there is a conflict, how will you solve it? Any doubt so far? Guys, any doubt? Any doubt? Did you understand? Did you get the concept? Hmm? Any doubt, guys? Aditi, doubt? Or anyone
No,
doubt?
ma'am.
Anyone has any doubt so far? Did you understand at least?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, let me share you the screen. Give me a minute.
Actually, I lost the connection in between. I watched the video again at that point.
Okay. Okay. So far it's clear, right? Okay. So let me go back to the folder. Whatever changes we had done. This is the old one. Okay, wait, I forgot one step. That is okay. I'll have to explain you what is merge, what is rebase, and what is squash. Okay. Okay. Now it is giving us successfully rebased and updated. Now let's go and check here. So whatever we wanted, it should be there now. Yes. And now let me explain you what is merge, what is squash, and what is rebase. Skip button is added, all those are visible. And whatever is there in new 2 is also visible. Okay. So all the conflict I've removed. After removing the conflict, right, I'll have to do git add and then save it. After adding it, because I've done all the removing of conflicts, after removing all the conflicts, now let me run git. Always remember, once you remove the conflict, just add it and then git rebase, and then you'll have to give continue. Okay, continue. So now it'll ask you to add any message. Okay, if I don't want to add any message, I'll just give escape, press escape, shift, escape. Okay, so whatever it says, it has been added now. So git rebase I've done. So why rebase continue is because you saw that when I did this one, right? When I just did pull origin main and rebase, it did not actually have all the, when I did commit directly, it did not have exactly what I wanted. It did not have these two also. It was just having one. So always remember, whenever you're doing pull and once you resolve the conflict, always remember to add it and only give rebase. Don't give commit. Okay, once you add it, give rebase directly and then give continue. Basically, you are trying to continue the rebasing process which was stopped in between. So once it's completed, now you can see what is the status of your this one. Git status, sorry, get status. Now everything is done and everything you can see the changes also. Whatever was done remotely as well as what I had done in my system, everything is visible. Okay, I hope this is clear. Is this clear so far? Okay, all of you do one thing. Have GitHub, Git installed, as well as have a account ready in your GitHub. Okay, and also get Git installed in your system. And along with that, try to do or practice all these commands, whatever I've told you. So far, we have learned how to create files and how to create locally all the files and how to push it into remote repo. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at how to clone all the files from remote repo, how to contribute to online source codes that we have over GitHub. Along with that, we'll also see what is rebase, what is merge, what is squash, what are these three useful for, and everything. So tomorrow will be the last class on Git and GitHub. After that, we won't have any classes. After that, we'll start with some other top concepts. Is that fine? Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now for today, it's enough, I guess. I hope it was clear all these things, right? If you weren't able to understand anything, please do let me know. And one more help I need from you guys is I'll be sending you a feedback form. Please do respond over there. Within 5 minutes, I'll be sending you a feedback form in the group. I hope you guys are there in the group, right? All of you, four of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it'll be anonymous, okay? You just need to give your positive response, or whatever response you have. Don't just uh, respond because I'm asking. Just respond what you felt. I just need your feedback. I'll send you the form within 5 minutes. Please do give your this one, okay? Feedback there. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank